Good evening, everybody, and happy fall. The second day of fall here, 2021, and we are live at the Pizza Hut in Galion for Coach's Corner East. And our show is brought to you in part tonight by Lee Plymouth, Brad Seibert and the Plymouth Insurance Group, Galion and Bucyrus, North Central State College, Mansfield, and the Crawford Success Center, North Walnut Street, across from the courthouse in Bucyrus. Phil and Sue Schreck at Phil's Deli, just east of Pizza Hut, at the Bridge in Galion. Halfway through the regular season of the high school football competition, and we're moving into the second half. Week 6 coming up. A little later on, we'll be talking to Johnny King and the Crestline Bulldogs, coming off a tough loss at home to Upper Scioto Valley. And it's been an interesting maybe 12 hours, maybe not even 12 hours yet. And we'll talk about that when Coach King and the Bulldogs are here. 6:20, we'll be talking with Ryan Teglovic and the Colonel Crawford Eagles, getting a nice rebound win, a big second half performance against Upper Sandusky, going into their rivalry game with Winford for the Battle of the Iron Plow. And to start things off, it's the Galion Tigers, Coach Matt Dick and some of his players talking about their loss to Marion Harding and looking to rebound with Clear Fork coming up this week. Show is brought to you in part by Steve Kurtzman and Associates at Innovative Recycling, 352 South Street, Galion. Candy Bolin at Bolin Realty, 2 blocks west of the Uptown Galion Square, and John Cross at Cross Carpet and Custom Floors, 302 North Seltzer Street, downtown Crestline. And I'd like to welcome to the microphone head football coach, Galion High School, Matt Dick. And Coach, as again, thanks for coming. And as we talked a little bit off air, weather has changed very quickly from sunny and 85 to cold, rainy, and 60, but you said your kids enjoyed it today at practice.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's just exciting to get to practice football and play football. I think sometimes we just take everything for granted. But the idea that, you get to go out and hang out with your high school buddies and have a great practice, and we did. We had fun. They jumped in the mud puddle at the end of the practice, and, the kids enjoyed it. We have a good group of kids that are working hard and getting better every day.
And maybe or maybe not, maybe a player possibly jumped in a river, I think, too.
I cannot confirm or deny that.
Okay. Well, quick way to get the gear washed up anyways. Last week we talked about a kind of an emotional win coming off of River Valley, which your kids have arguably said is their biggest rival. You were a little concerned going down to Marion Harding with their athleticism, but felt fairly good. Kids felt good, ready to play, but it didn't turn out like you wanted it to. You fell to the Prexies 24-15. You're now 3-2 overall, 1-1 in the MOAC, and they had Marion Harding had trouble finding a running game, but they kind of found it against you. Ran 35 times for 147 yards, and quarterback Brady Wink had 84 yards. Malachi Robinson with 48 yards. Did they do anything that you really didn't expect to see?
I think that their team in general, when we play them, if they get momentum, they're as good as, they may be the best team in MOAC when they have momentum. And we did a poor job offensively of giving them momentum with turnovers. And if you do things like that, I think they just kept playing harder and harder and harder. And I also think when you watch film, there's lots of times where, a kid gets beat, the other kid's better. You got to give Marion Harding credit. Their coaches put their guys in good positions, and their kids wanted to hit. They were flying around hitting people, and they deserve that credit. But I say, no, there's plays where our guys just aren't going full speed. Either they're thinking too much or lack of effort. And we watched film when we coached it up, both offense, defense, special teams. There were some things that we can get a lot better at, and we're going to continue to get better at as the year goes on.
Despite the fact that they ran 35 times, it was a wide receiver, Wes Stokes, that actually made 4 big plays, including a jump ball, a 56-yard touchdown pass and catch with 6:22 left in the game to put the Presidents up by 9 points. And he finished with 4 catches, 132 yards, 2 TDs. Their quarterback, Brady Wink, 7 of 15, 152 as far as passing. And what seemed to be the difficulty from a defensive standpoint, a defense that's arguably been playing very, very well, that kind of left some gaps and left some opportunity for Marion Harding?
If I'm going to be honest, we probably took away their top 4 threats, erased them. They had nothing. And, quarterback run and throwing it up to the tall kid, number 4, he made some plays. He's probably their 5th best receiver, if I'm being completely honest. He is a tall kid. He made tons of plays. And he has made plays for other teams, but he's not the guy that makes their offense go. We took those guys away. But you got to give him credit. When it was his chance to make a play, he made it. And we got to get better with some corner technique. We worked on that. We got to get rid of some holding penalties because we had a couple interceptions we could have had. ahead. And there's one of those fades that I think the ball was on the ground. We get the film, you get to see that, but refs bang bang play. It's hard to see that, but it's frustrating as a coach and a team when you say, hey, the ball's on the ground. That's not a touchdown. And those momentum plays just did not go our way. And if we're chasing momentum with a young team, it makes it hard.
From a scoring standpoint for the Tigers, Cooper Kent to Jordan Borders, 44-yard touchdown pass with 4 seconds left in the second quarter, and Hanif Donaldson, a 71-yard run with 26 seconds, or at the 26-second mark of the third quarter, and you lead 15-7 at that point. You finish with 260 yards of offense, pretty balanced, 132 in the air, 128 on the ground. Cooper Kent, 10 of 21 passing for 132 and a touchdown, and Gabe Ivey, 5 receptions, 63 yards. Hanif Donaldson, 18 carries, 113 yards, and 1 touchdown. You did lose a fumble, and as you mentioned, 8 penalties for 80 yards. And it's, on paper, the offense looks like it did pretty well, but there's still some things that have to be corrected to be able to get over that hump. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think sometimes we're trying to find answers to what defenses do, especially when they load the box and Hanif's at running back. And we struggle just to throw some quick screens and take what the defense gives you. But I think as a coach, if you keep trying to take that square peg and fit in that round hole, it doesn't work enough times. That's really on you. Mm-hmm. So as a coach, we went back to the drawing board and we chalked some stuff up a little different. And we're trying to do it a different way this week. And I'm excited to see what that looks like. Clear Fork is a very, very good team. So it's always hard when you try a little bit different wrinkle, what it's going to look like, but I'm excited to see what that does this Friday, and we got to keep trying different things to hold defense accountable, not just to take away Hanif, and we got to get more guys involved, and we're going to keep trying to do that.
With a younger team, from a quarterback standpoint, your line standpoint, throwing in those new wrinkles, is it a little more accepted because they're just maybe a little naive about it than it would be older kids or more experienced kids?
I think that our kids have a good head on their shoulder. They're team guys. They understand that Hanif's good, but they also understand that other guys got to get the ball or it's too easy to stop our offense. And I think as coaches, we're trying to find out who's that number 2 guy, who's that number 3 guy that really needs to touch the ball more. And I think sometimes we're trying one thing and, hey, we got to try a different way to get that guy the ball. We're going to keep trying some different wrinkles. But I had some really good talks. Me, Kyle Fowl, Sam Weggs sat down today and we started talking about what the team feels and just hearing their perspective. We have some good seniors. I talk a lot about our young guys, but there's 11 seniors that are really doing a good job being good team guys and doing what's best for the team, and I really appreciate them.
Very good. You had made the comment, and I believe it was the Galion Inquirer, the offense is hot and cold still, and I think that comes down to that sophomore O-line, and some of that comes down to a sophomore quarterback and trying to get someone else involved other than Hanif, and you just mentioned that. Repeatable plays that don't involve Hanif Donaldson is a real struggle for us, and how do you get out of that rut?
Well, I think you got to find what works, and I think sometimes at practice something works, but when we get under the lights, they're like, ooh, too many times, whether it's a quarterback-receiver combination or something. But that definitely happened last Friday, and I almost felt like, well, if we just would have ran the ball 10 guys in the box, we would have been better off, probably would have won. And that kind of eats at me. But on the same note, if you're going to play good offense, you're going to have some type of balance. Maybe not completely, but some type. So we're doing a little bit different this week, and I'm excited to see what it looks like, and hopefully it looks better, and it's a way for us to keep growing offensively. But, as coaches, and I told the kids this, losing sucks. I don't want them to like losing. I want it to hurt, and I think our kids, it hurt. Monday, Tuesday, it hurt. Today, we had that nice little pop in our step, and I think I control some of that as well. It takes me a while to get over losses. I put a lot of time in this. My coaching staff puts a lot of time in this. It hurts to lose. But on the same note, we got to keep looking for what's the bright spots and what can we get better at. And, I can tell you, like we did an inside run session where it was more of a walk-through. Defense did maybe 1 or 2 hard steps. But even then, there's so much coaching that we can get better at. And we were watching the film today and coaching up our O-line, our H-backs, our running backs, and just all the little techniques. There's just so much room for growth. And if our kids will get over the fact that we lost, get over the fact that they made some mistakes, and keep taking the coaching. And if they're not willing to, we got to find the next kid that will take the coaching. And I think our kids did a great job this week, and our coaches did as well. And I'm excited to see what it looks like on Friday.
Very good. I'm going to take a break here before we talk to the young men around the table. Our show is brought to you in part by Terry Gribble and Associates at your Galion Community Center, YMCA. Dr. Erica Schieber at Bucyrus Veterinary Service, 222 West Mary Street, Bucyrus. Rod Steiger and Associates at Pizza Hut, Galion and Bucyrus, host of our show. since 1992, and Luann Krebs at River's Edge Embroidery, Screen Printing and Sign, sponsor of our phone board t-shirts. Certainly appreciate that as well. We'll go around the table. All sophomores here is with us tonight, and first up, Linkon Tyrell. Hi, Linkon, how are you tonight?
I'm fine, how are you?
Doing really well. Position you're playing on the team?
Outside linebacker.
Outside linebacker, okay. And are you getting much of varsity time, or is it more JV time at this point?
It's all varsity.
Varsity, okay. So you're one of that young core of linebackers, the all sophomores.
Yeah.
So we're now halfway through the season. Talk about your personal growth, how you've gotten stronger from back in week one when the butterflies were probably the size of bald eagles to where you are now halfway through the season.
Yeah, well, I started off the season back at safety, so I kind of got to slowly get into more and more contact because there's going to be a little harder at linebacker, but moving up, transition wasn't that bad.
Now, was that your decision that you said, hey, I want to be more in the action, or was that the coaching, the defensive side of the ball saying, hey, we need you here?
That was coaches. They decided it.
So did you ever, for a moment, say, I kind of really like being in the defensive backfield. I don't really want to go up there, or, hey, I'll do whatever is asked of me?
I was pretty excited.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah.
What did the speed change very much for you? Because there's so much action going on at that linebacker position.
I mean, it's a little different. You got to hit some bigger guys sometimes, but it's not crazy change.
So what's the thing that you feel that you need to do the most the second half of the regular season?
Line up on number 2.
To be successful?
I think I just need to stay focused better. A lot of times coaches will tell me something and I'll just forget about it the next play.
Mm-hmm.
I need to keep my head in the game.
Lock in,
Yeah.
for sure. Very good. Well, good luck this week against Clear Fork.
All right,
Thanks
you.
for coming out. Carson Frankhouse is here. Hi, Carson. How are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Doing really well, and it was an honor to interview your brother the last few years, and now you're here. And what position are you playing on the team?
Middle of the field on defense, Mike linebacker.
Mike linebacker. So you're part of that group too. That,
Oh, yeah.
And so you enjoy that as well. And what's it like out to be with such young guys? Are you helping each other out in the huddle?
Yeah, we're really all just working together as one unit. I feel like we're all just doing our own parts. And I feel like if we just stick together, we're going to be a strong group of guys, ready to rumble, hit whoever.
So you were a sophomore coming in, and you still are grade-wise, but do you feel, because of 5 games of experience, that, hey, I'm beyond that now. I'm not a young kid anymore. I'm doing what I have to do at the varsity level?
No, I've always felt like I'm ready to rumble. I play low. I play low. I play nasty, man. I do what the coach is asking me.
Yep.
And I just feel like if I do my part, it doesn't matter what grade I am. I'm going to kick your butt.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Thanks for keeping it FCC regulated there. I appreciate that. So Clear Fork, really strong team. They've been putting up a bunch of numbers, and they'll throw, they'll run, and that's going to rely on you and your linebackers, the whole defense, to do a lot of different things. What's going to be your main key, your main read that you're going to have to look at?
Well, we're really going to have to look at everything because they do everything so well. They're just so that well coached, and they have some players. But I feel like we have the same players, maybe even better.
Yeah.
I feel like we stop their run. That's like the main thing that's going to have to happen.
Good. Well, I wish you the best of luck. Thanks for coming out tonight.
Thank
you.
you.
Did a nice job. Thank you.
you.
Hunter Miniard is next. Hi, Hunter. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing really well. Positions on the team?
I'm the will linebacker.
You're a will linebacker, so all part. So these 3 guys, you're all out there together.
Yes, sir.
Do you get along off the field when you're not in practice?
Yeah, I feel like we're very close, like good friends off the team, on the field.
Communication-wise, it's important, not only the defensive line and the offensive line, but linebackers, they got to communicate what they're doing. Has that gotten stronger through these first 5 weeks, and can it get stronger going into the second half of the year?
It's gotten stronger, but I feel like it's been pretty strong since we've been playing football together since we were little kids.
Mm-hmm. Where do you see the overall strength of this defensive unit, but yet where do you have to get better?
I think we're all pretty strong. We still have, all of us have stuff to work on, get better on. We all have weaknesses.
So what's the thing that you have to really, really improve upon?
I go backwards a lot.
What do you mean by that?
Like, backpedal a little bit, trying to see more.
I see what you're saying. Instead of attacking.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good. Well, good luck this week against Clear Fork, and should be a great game.
Thank you.
You bet. And finally, Derek Prosser's here. I apologize. I said they were all sophomores, and here I wasn't even reading what you wrote, and you're a junior, so I apologize for that.
That's all right.
And I can guarantee you're probably not a linebacker, right? Offensive and defensive line?
Both.
Which one, what position specifically?
Left guard on offense and left tackle on defense.
What preference do you have, one side or the other of the ball?
I like defense way more.
Because?
Offensive plays are way hard to learn.
They're harder to learn, just to know where you have to go on each play. Whereas, I suspect, defense, you're just reading and reacting. So it's not as much thought process. So you get a bunch of points put on. As Coach said, you took away most of their weapons. Was it deflating defensively when you executed the game plan? We took away who we were supposed to, and they still beat us. Was that deflating to you?
A little bit, yeah.
So what work has gone in this week at practice to get ready for a completely different team that also has weapons? How are you going to try to eliminate the mistakes and eliminate what they do well?
I feel like when we do like scout O and scout D, the scout D has to go a little bit harder and like stay like low and get better than they and going.
All right, very good. Well, thanks for coming out. Good luck the rest of the year. I appreciate it. Good job. Our show is brought to you in part by Don Barr & Associates at Galion Building and Loan Bank, Matt Studer at Spitzer Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and Kia 1 mile east of the Richland Mall, Mark Osborne & Associates at E-Crane International, serving worldwide markets from the Galion Industrial Park. Back to head football coach at Galion High School, Matt Dick. And before we get into Clear Fork, let's give some love to the younger grades. How are the JVs doing, the freshmen, and your junior high at this point?
Yeah, the junior highs won a couple games back-to-back. They played really nice, looked good. I think we double winners at Marion Harding. The JV team came from behind to win on Saturday morning, so that was exciting. And the freshmen we had to cancel. We had way too many kids sick on. It was really more JV than freshmen, but just too many kids out. But they're all back, and we're going to play double this weekend, and we're excited about that.
Good, very good. And you're happy with numbers, of course, and happy with participation. And do you see growth into? I mean, I don't know how much junior high games you get to see, but do you see some potential and some growth there coming up at the lower levels?
Yeah, absolutely, and especially like skilled guys. They are throwing the ball around on 7th and 8th grade. They do a nice job mixing up lots of skilled athletes. It's exciting. We know we're a little down skill wise at the high school level. There's not a lot of those receiver guys in some of those grades, but the middle school has a lot of those skill guys coming. We got some linemen up at the high school, so it's going to be exciting.
Very good. Clear Fork comes to town, a team that is 3-2 overall, just like you, and 1-0 in the MOAC. They've only played one league game. Coached by Dave Carroll, he's been there forever. Just a solid coach. He's taken teams deep into the playoffs. And when I think of Clear Fork, I just think tough-nosed kids, hard kids. They're going to play whistle to whistle. They're going to go all out. They're going to give it their best. They're not lazy. They defeated River Valley, a team that you beat the week prior, so River Valley's really licking their wounds now, having to take back-to-back league losses. Beat them 41-19. But the Colts' 2 losses have come against teams that are combined 9-1. So the teams they lost to are really, really solid football teams. They're averaging 28.8 points per game, but only 7 points per game in their 2 losses, and they're giving up an average of 26.2. And through the first 4 weeks, their quarterback, Victor Skoog, I think is how you pronounce that, 4th in passing in the MOAC, 51-97, 583 yards, 8 touchdowns, but 5 interceptions. Is that something your defense can take advantage of? And what do you expect to see out of the Clear Fork Colts this week?
Well, I actually looked at the stats just like you, and I told Coach Roston in both their losses, they only gave up 7 points. That's all they earned. So I let him know that. That's the key to winning. And then, their offense, Coach Carroll does a great job of making you play sound defense. So he'll run his little jet motion, and if you play that too hard, he's got a pop to the tight end, he's got a bubble pass, and he's got an out, and he has, basically 3 different ways that if you're overplaying the jet, he's going to take advantage of it. And then when he hands the ball to the jet guy, he's a pretty talented kid. They got about they might have 5 or 6 different skilled athletes that do a pretty good job of running outside zone and really stretch your defense. So I think it starts with everybody being sound and doing their responsibility. And as a defensive coordinator, Coach Rawson's going to do a good job of mixing it up. If you just stay in the same thing over and over again, he's going to see it the first motion. He's going to attack it. So you have to change your looks. And I think that's true with any offense. You just keep mixing them up, throw different things at them, and try to keep them off guard. And maybe you steal one of those interceptions. But their offense is good. And I think if you watch the games, I think Lexington, it got shut down for a while, and then all of a sudden, boom, it exploded in the second half. They're going to score some points, but I think if we can control the ball with our offense and no turnovers, I think that'll make a big difference.
What scheme do you expect to see from them defensively?
They've been a lot of 4-3. If you look at the game versus Bellevue and Lexington, that was mostly what they were in, but they will stack the box. They'll put all 9 guys in the box. He's not going to let you keep doing the same thing over and over again. He's a good coach, so we have to mix in some other stuff.
Based on the teams you've played already in the first 5 weeks, who do they remind you of? Is it anybody in particular?
No, not really. Their O-line's not nasty like Cary, but their O-line is definitely solid. Probably second best offensive line we've seen so far this year. Offensively, I love how they spread the ball around. As a coach, they got 10 guys touching the ball, and they're all making plays. It's not like they go to some guy and he just drops it and they try someone else. All their kids do a great job executing. I think that goes back to some of their toughness, and you give those kids a lot of credit, but also he puts them in good positions. And it's real simple stuff, but if you do it all together, it makes for a really pretty offense. And defensively, they always play tough defense. They're a good program.
Yeah, for sure. Well, good luck this week. You are home at Unkrich Stadium in Heisey Park. Should be a beautiful night once all this rain gets out of the way. A little warmer, maybe 70 or so, something in mid-70s. That should be nice with lots of sunshine, and hopefully get a big win, and we'll talk about it next week.
Absolutely.
You bet. Thanks for coming out tonight.
Thank you.
All right, guys, let's get